Hello people of the verse, welcome to the channel. It's the Eradicator, and in this video we will be talking about missions generated by your incapacitation in the verse. This is something that we briefly talked about yesterday in yesterday's episode of Inside Star Citizen, but that's also something that I would like to go over with extra details. Now, as of right now, obviously we still do not have any details apart from a tiny little note from the bottom left of the screen during the episode of Inside Star Citizen. If you saw, there's this you are incapacitated, time until death, blah blah blah, hold spacebar to die and revive at blah blah blah, or hold M to trigger a revival mission. And that's the particular part here that we are interested in and that we're going to talk about in this video. So as I just mentioned here, there are going to be two different choices. Either let yourself die, which of course is going to have some drawbacks, as they indicated in an episode of Inside Star Citizen. When you die, you are going to be losing all of your inventory, unfortunately, which means that what you would have on you in your backpack especially will be available for other people to loot, which of course can be unfortunate, especially if there were some valuables that you perhaps wanted to keep. I'm thinking, for example, of crypto keys for now. But also, if you decide to stick to the timer, in that case here, I think the picture shows 26 minutes, and that means that you are going to be standing wherever you are for a maximum amount of time, which would be here at 26 minutes. And within that period of time, players around would have the chance to pick you up. Now, there are no details as of how this is going to work, but here are some assumptions that about how this could perhaps be implemented here by the devs. What I believe is going to happen is that there are going to be some indications in the UI, just like, for example, sometimes we get a message telling that there is a commodity price alert, right? I think that we're going to be given a message that a player has been incapacitated and that there is a revival mission available in the Mobiglass. So players will just go to the Mobiglass and maybe go to either priority investigation, or perhaps there is going to be a special new tab here for revival mission. We don't really know how it's going to be called, but I guess that we'll find out soon enough. Now, what I hope is that there are going to be several players who will be able to take the mission. I hope that this is going to give the chance to give players to compete against one another. Why would that be the case? For example, it's already the case with bounty hunting missions, for example. Multiple players can take the same bounty hunting mission, and the first one who disposes of the bounty eventually wins the prize. I think that this ought to be the same here with incapacitated players. I think that there should be several players who should be taking the same mission, and the first one who arrives at that particular injured body, let's say, is going to be winning the prize. Because let's say, you could, for example, you could end up in situations in which you are busy. You are about to finish a mission, and you say, oh, what am I going to do next? Well, I'm going to take that, I'm going to rescue that person after I finish this deal, or after I finish this combat mission. And you never know, maybe you can eventually die. Maybe it will take longer than anticipated, and then, the timer will run out, and by the time you get to the person that you're supposed to save, then that person will already be dead. So I think that this would be a great way to avoid such situations to happen if we let several players take the same mission at the same time, so that the first one who really gets on the site is going to be the one who will be saving the player who needs help and eventually get the money. Now, the next thing that I believe will happen is that I think that the payouts are not going to be attractive enough. I think that this has been a major problem with most of CIG's missions, especially I think of the delivery missions, right? Usually they're not that interesting, and people tend to ignore them because they have better things to do for better profits. Right now, to do the most profit, you either have to mine some Contanium or do some bounty hunting missions. If you're a bounty hunter, if you are a miner, what would be the reason? Why would you interrupt your activities in order to save somebody? This has to be somewhat lucrative and interesting. And this is where I believe that player-to-player interaction is perhaps going to play a role, because we now have the opportunity in Star Citizen to perform player-to-player transactions, which means that we also have the opportunity to tip players, just like in real life. In real life, You know, when let's say you want to have some kind of service, it can be as simple as going to a restaurant, for example, right? If you want to ensure that your service is good, then you are going to tip the waiter, because the waiter is not paid that much money. Why would the waiter do this job and not do another job? That's because eventually patrons are tipping them, and this motivates them to work a little bit harder. And I believe that this is something that we should eventually do when we are being saved by other players, especially if the payouts are not that great for these kind of missions. I think that in the end, since these are going to be player-to-player interaction, players saving other players, there should be some kind of gratitude expressed by the player who is being saved from another player who didn't have to spend that time saving you, right? So I think that tipping is going to play a role in order to keep players motivated, excited, doing this kind of job. And you know, on the other side, you know, when you are doing a service for someone and someone shows your appreciation, that really encourages you to do that again. Now, the last thing that I think should happen with those missions is that CIG should make sure that you can only have them if you have no crime stat. And I think that this is really important, because there are going to be trolls, right? There are going to be people who are going to be in for a fight. Especially some people may be a little bit, I would say, disappointed that they may not be the first one to get to save someone who needs some help, and maybe they would decide to shoot the medic that would be a little bit ahead of them in order to get the money, right? So we don't want that to happen, and I think that to prevent such acts of grieving, or such acts of maybe in-game rage, right, we should make sure that you cannot complete the mission if you have a crime stat. So that's also very important. So you say, but Erad, what if, for example, you are in a criminal org, and in that criminal org, almost everyone has a crime stat. How are you going to save other people and take those missions? Well, in that case, you gotta make sure that you clear your crime stat, right? Because these are going to be dedicated roles, right? We're talking about an actual gameplay loop that is going to transform into a profession, the medic profession. Doctors are not criminals, or doctors should not be criminals, right? There should be certain work ethics, and in order to also respect that, I think that it's going to be very important to make sure that these are going to be lawful missions only. But anyway, guys, these are my thoughts here on those revival missions. But let me know in the comment section down below, guys, how would you envision those revival missions? It's of course the giveaway question, since this month, thanks to Dr. Forbin, I give away a Mercury Star Runner to you guys, the subscribers of this channel. All you have to do was to answer the question I just asked and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you're in public settings. Also, Patreons and Join Patreon members should have access to my Discord channel, where I'm giving also thanks to Dr. Forbin and Max Power and Crusader Ares Ion and an Origin 85X. That's all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more content on the channel. This is the Eradicator. I'll see you guys later. This video is brought to you by the people who support this channel on Patreon and via the join button as well. Supporters of the channel get access to lots of cool perks, such as access to my private Discord, your question answered in the show, you get to know when I'm going to play, and also you get to have a chance to influence the editorial line of the channel. Any help is appreciated, starts at just $1 a month. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.